Alright, welcome back, guys. UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Murphy just finished. We're going to go through the entire card results, starting at the bottom of the card, going all the way to the top of the card. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on everything that happened. This card, honestly, this card was about as bad as I look at right now. Like, dude, I just crawled out of bed to make this video, and it feels like that's kind of how this card felt. I stayed up late to watch it. It was not worth it, I'm not going to lie. Honestly, it wasn't the best card. It was okay. There was moments, there were some good finishes, but all in all, it wasn't like wow, this card was sick. There was a couple stinkers on the card that kind of just ruined the event, to be honest. So we're gonna start things off with Vanessa Demopoulos versus Catalina Alenskar. And to be honest, I barely watched this fight. It was not super exciting. They kind of just went back and forth. Catalina, way more takedowns, way more ground and pound and stuff like that. It wasn't really an exciting fight, so not much to say on that one. I hate trying to act like I'm interested in the fights that really suck, so we're gonna kind of blow past them. It wasn't a great fight. Martin Buday versus Uran Sadalbayev. Dude, this was a weird fight, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, just because Martin Buday is extremely overweight, dude. It's actually ridiculous. And we always talk about it on this channel, heavyweights, what are you doing? And this is an example of, what are you doing, bro? I don't understand the commentary. They were glazing Uran Sadalbayev for being the smaller guy coming in 50, 60 pounds lighter than Martin Buday. They're both the exact same height and both the exact same frame. Just one dude has the biggest gun ever and one dude is almost kind of in shape. So it's I don't understand. Maybe it's just me. They're talking about all the benefits of having all this extra weight for Martin Buday, and it's not really an extra benefit at all. The only time it was kind of helping him out was when he was up against the cage, and they were kind of just I guess clinch wrestling against the cage. He has that little bit extra weight to lean on him, but he's also got to move that weight around the entire fight. He's got the same frame as the other guy. It's not like he's that much heavier and that much bigger. It's just he's just fat. He's literally just fat. And we saw the whole first round of the fight, and second round of the fight, and honestly, even in the third round of the fight, that Uran Sadalbayev is the better his frame, his build, everything like that was working a lot better against Martin Buday. He was faster, he was able to hit him more, he was able to move out of the way more. I think why he lost the fight is because Martin Buday is actually a better fighter. He has a bit better hands and a bit better low kicks and just a bit better well-rounded game. I think that the extra weight didn't help at all. I just think that he toughed it out. He should have, a lot of other people probably would have got out of this fight, and good on Martin Buday for pushing through the whole fight. But I think if Martin Buday was in a little bit better shape, he would perform even better because he could actually throw these punches better, dude. Oh my god. I think Uran Sadalbayev was really coming after him and really putting it on him, but Martin Buday is just a little bit more technical, and as Uran Sadalbayev started to fade, Martin Buday was able to use some of that weight against the clinch. Ugh, I hate to say it, but it was more just he's a tiny bit better striking, and he's able to he had a little bit more durability too. Whether that's from being a fat ass or not, I don't know. But I don't think so. I think maybe the body shots and stuff like that, although there wasn't a lot of body shots thrown against Martin Buday. I just think he's a little bit better, a little bit more technical, and I think he needs to get in shape, bro. I'm so over it. I'm so over these guys that if you look like that and you have that frame, why are you fighting at heavyweight? Get your ass in shape and fight at light heavyweight. I just don't understand it. But I do understand it. I understand why Uran Sadalbayev is fighting up at heavyweight too when he's a smaller guy, because the talent pool is so much worse. These guys at heavyweight, especially outside the top 10, top 5, are very bad. They just aren't good. Victor Henry versus Pedro Falcone. Dude, or Falco. This guy literally looks like Pedro Falco. He looks like he's coming straight off the streets of Mexico. Cartel, raised and born. Victor Henry needs to cut his hair. Would be my recommendation, dude. If you're going bald, just just admit it and get rid of the hair. It is what it is, man. It's at that, if it's at that point, dude, it's at that point. It's all good. Me, if I ever get to that point where my hairline's sitting halfway on the back of my head, it's time to go. We're zipping it off. We're going bald. But Victor Henry looked really good in this fight. It was a pretty back and forth fight. Not like necessarily like that Victor Henry wasn't winning. I had Victor Henry winning the majority of this fight. It was just Pedro Falcon was in the fight the whole time. He was giving Victor Henry problems. Victor Henry was a little bit always one step ahead in the grappling and in the striking. And he just honestly, he looked really, really good tonight. It was a really good win for Victor Henry. He's a good fighter, man. He really is. He's not like this insane fighter, but he is very good. He's very technical. He was doing some interesting stuff on the ground when he was grappling. And I don't know why I'm forgetting what it is, but I was always like, you probably don't need to do that to get back up. I think it was going for like a guillotine or something. Anyways, but he's getting himself stuck on the bottom a bit. But otherwise, I mean, he looked very good the whole fight, and he was able to get back up to his feet. He was giving up his back. That's what it was. He was giving up his back to get to his feet a lot. But when he was giving up his back to get to his feet, he was pretty safe about getting up that way. I mean, I think a better grappler probably could have taken advantage of that. Somebody like an Aljo or something like that probably would have taken the back, and he probably wouldn't have got out of it for the rest of the round. But against Pedro Falco, it worked totally fine. And his striking looked really good. He was switching stances. He was mixing it up. Some nice uppercuts, some nice knees. So good win for Victor Henry. Up next, Lumbokme versus Estali Nunes. This was a good fight. Estali Nunes, dude, this girl was bombed, bro, when she lost the fight. She thought she won the fight 100%. Again, this is one of the fights that I didn't necessarily watch top to bottom. Loma Lukbumi is striker, and so it was Estela Nunes. Although Luma basically after the first round decided, hey, I'm just going to grapple with you, and she pretty much just took her down and kind of held her there for the majority of the rounds. Obviously, Estela Nunes was landing the more damaging shots, the harder shots, but very, very few and far between, especially in the second and the third round. She was very surprised she didn't win that fight. Again, I didn't look at this fight super closely. I wasn't like, oh, I gotta watch this fight for sure, every detail. But I do basically remember being like, well, I mean, wasn't very exciting, wasn't very entertaining, but Luma Lukbumi probably won this fight 2 rounds to 3. And then Estela Nunes she was let's just say she was bummed when she found that. She was like, what? Little mini girl rage fit. But anyways, I wasn't gonna say it was a good. Wow, she was a -900 favorite. Crazy. I don't think it was that far of a fight. I mean, in the striking, they both looked good. She looked honestly a little bit better than Nuba. She mixed in takedowns and took her down. Reese McKee versus Daniel Frunza. Frunza? I feel like that's how we say it. Daniel Frunza is straight off the Contender Series, first fight in the UFC. Reese McKee has gotten cooked in his first couple fights in the UFC. However, this dude has gone against some of the best guys, and he's definitely had a tough couple fights. I mean, he had to fight Khamzat Chimaev right out of the gate. So, anyways, he looked really good. He's a big dude for the weight class. He's pretty tall. He's not necessarily super strong. I feel like he's a guy that's down the line he's going to be a little bit injury prone, but who isn't? All in all, though, he looked really good. He used his height, his reach, his advantages like that, very, very well in the striking. And what did he do? I forget exactly what he caught Daniel Frunza with to cause this huge swelling and this cut in his eye. But dude, he pieced him up in the first round. He got him really good. He pretty much put him out in the first couple minutes. And then Daniel Frunza somehow... First of all, the referee gave Daniel Frunza every single chance to stay in this fight. And it's a good thing he did, because Daniel Frunza got back into it. I was going to say regained consciousness, but he pretty much did. He was pretty much knocked out. And he was pieced up. He was bleeding everywhere. But after that 30 seconds after he got clipped and hit with a bunch of follow-up shots, he was totally back in the fight. And Reese McKee was coming forward, trying to finish the fight, throwing everything at him. Daniel Frunza was taking some big shots for sure, but he was in it. He was being pretty technically sound. He was throwing back super hard, and he survived the whole round. He didn't even survive the whole round. He started to come back into the fight. It wasn't wow, he's winning the rest of the round. It was more okay, like, it's pretty close to 50-50 now, like 60-40. Reese McKee's like kicking his ass 60% of the time, and he's holding his own. And that was like the last 3 minutes of the round. Really, really good from Daniel Frunza. Honestly, I feel kind of bad for him because he just went through like another like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes of like just dogging it out. A lot more damage just for the doctor to stop the fight. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, he tried his damn hardest. So you gotta respect Daniel Frunza. He's a good fighter. It was interesting to watch him fight. He definitely has heart, and I think like you can't really knock him on being in the UFC for something like that. It was a really good. It's not like it was a really good first fight in the UFC, but like it was a good first fight in the UFC. He showed that he's tough, he's durable, he's gonna be there to stand. He's not gonna give up, and not that he got caught with like not that it was an unlucky shot or something like that, but he got hit with some good shots. But his eye really just like the way he got hit, the bleeding and how much it swelled up was, I don't want to say like unnormal, but it's not common. Like, that's not going to happen every time you smoke somebody like that. Anyways, great fight from Reese McKee. He looked really, really good. He was on top of this fight, top to bottom. And honestly, if it kept going on, it was probably going to go the same way. So, well, yeah, it was like, he got a bonus for that one, so that's good. This, Diana Belbita versus Leon Barboza. This got a performance of the night or whatever. Ugh, crazy. Not crazy, but it was not like, yo, this is sick. Basically, Daniel Belbita was like kind of even on the striking with Dion Barboza, and Dion Barboza just decided, hey, I'm kind of like a man and I'm a lot more stronger than you, and I'm just going to take you down and do whatever I want with you and submit you. And that's her game anyways, and that's basically what she did. I don't want to dive too deep into it because it was like, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but she just literally just decided, okay, now it's time for me to take you down and beat you up and submit you, and that's exactly what she did. So, great win from Dion Barboza. All in all, like, I mean, we'll go through the main card, or through the prelims cards. First fight was kind of boring. Second fight was kind of mid. Actually, it was kind of bad, to be honest. Victor Henry versus Pedro Falcon was a more technical, but still interesting fight. Luma Lebume versus Stel Nunes, bad fight. Reese McKee versus Daniel Frunza, good fight. And then the last fight in the prelims was okay. It wasn't like a wow. It wasn't like that was an insane submission or anything like that. It was like, it was a good performance, but it wasn't like wow. So prelims were pretty mid, to be honest. This fight, oh my god, dude, I feel so bad for Robert Valentin, man, because he's like, I mean, anybody who watched the contender series, watched Tough this season, like, knows how entertaining and how not good, like, Robert Valentin is a good fighter for sure, but how entertaining and how good Robert Valentin could be for the UFC. Like, he's like one of these, like, not necessarily Tony Ferguson-esque fighters, but like maybe like Bobby Green-esque style, where he's like, he's not like probably not going to win the belt, but he's going to be like a really entertaining, like, mid to top level fighter in the UFC, and he's going to be a great addition to tons of cards. He's going to put on some sick fights, some sick shows. And bro, they just keep giving this guy the shittiest fights, dude. Like, Robert Valentin, like, he's a very entertaining striker. He has pretty good grappling as well, but they just put him against these boring ass wrestlers like Ryan Loder and Torrez Finney, and literally just ruin all of his hype. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him back in the UFC after this, because he's lost his first 2 fights in the UFC. It's like, it just sucks, because he did. I mean, even in this fight, like the Ryan Loder fight, he got submitted, and like it was a close fight, but it wasn't a close fight. Sorry, he got submitted, but like he was throwing submissions back, same as this fight. But basically, like this fight, dude, it was just like, oh my god. Torrez Finney literally looks like a prime Mike Tyson turd. I'm not gonna lie, the dude is just. He's a little rocket, man. I don't know about Torrez Finney, dude. I felt bad for him having to fight 3 times in the contender series, and then having these like pretty decent performances outside of the UFC. But then he comes in, dude, on his UFC debut and does this. It's like, brother, like, I know you want to get the win. We know that, but you are not going to stay in the UFC if you keep fighting like this, even if you're winning. I don't think, like. It's just, you have to have an entertaining fight sometime, and this was Dude, this was a split decision, and there's some heat on this split decision because one guy scored at 30-27, Robert Valentin, and the other guy scored at 29-28, Torrez Finney. Dude, he scored at 30-27, Robert Valentin. I don't want to say that's crazy because I totally love it, but dude, when you look at the freaking look at the total shots. 93-17. Torrez Finney literally won this fight, and all the takedowns, he says 8 takedowns. The takedowns, for the most part, Robert Valentin was back up or on his knees or against the fence within 10, 15, 30 seconds. It was not a dominant performance by Torrez Finney whatsoever. He literally just ate 2 or 3 shots, grabbed Robert Valentin and tried to hold him against the fence with his head in Robert's crotch. Not barely even going for takedowns, not throwing any shots. Robert Valentin basically just spent all 15 minutes defending the takedowns and landing elbows when up against the fence, basically when Torrez is grabbing him, landing elbows to the side of the head and stuff like that, and little shots whenever he could, because Torrez Finney literally did nothing but hold him against the fence. And when you think about it, it is damage-based scoring, and bro, Torrez Finney literally landed 17 punches, and pretty much all of them were literally taps. Robert Valentin stand up, when they were standing at range, obviously Robert was piecing him up in the stand up. And once Robert Valentin did make a couple dumb decisions, I'm not gonna lie. The refs in the third round definitely gave them, I think he split them up 3 times. He could probably could have done it even more, honestly, because it was, at that point, it was 12 minutes of Torrez Finney literally just holding him there, doing nothing. And Robert Valentin, does a flying knee, bro. It's dude, you don't want this guy to take you down or hold you against the fence. Why are you going to flying knee and just let him grab you? It was kind of one of those, moments. But anyways, dude, I understand the scorecard for Robert Valentin 30-27. Is that bad to say? I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments, but I understand it, dude. Shit, Torrez Finney, dude. It was just the most... Dude looks like a milk dud, and he put on a milk dud performance. I'm not gonna lie. It was just it's one of those it's just why, dude? Why would you do that to yourself? Oh, so you could have lost that fight if one of the other judges gave it 29-28 Robert Valentin. You were losing that fight. So, and I honestly I wouldn't have been upset if one of the judges gave it 29-28 Robert Valentin. 30-27 is a little bit based, but it is what it is. Dude, Torrez Finney, if he gets another UFC fight, he better go out there and you better knock somebody out, because he's not gonna get fights in the UFC like that. He just isn't. It's an entertainment business. I know it's a sport. It's entertainment business, and you have to be entertaining at some point. That was not an entertaining fight. Do I think Torrez Finney's a bad guy? Do I think he's a bad fighter? No, I just think a performance like that is not necessarily a great way to, make your entrance in the UFC. And even if he did that the first 2 rounds, banked the first 2 rounds, and then went out and had a little bit of a war, and then shot takedown 2 minutes, 3 minutes left in the third round, would have been okay. But that was a lot to handle. That ruined all momentum on the card. Ode Osbourne versus Louis Gruel. Dude, this is a sick fight. Good fight for flyweight. Ode Osbourne, dude, just got shaved that top knot, man. I can't stand it. Other than that, dude, he looked good. He looked in good shape. He's definitely faster. He's definitely pretty much just faster. He was taller than Louis Gruel. He had a little bit more reach. I don't want to say he did anything especially well. He was just faster than Louis Gruel, and he landed a really good clean shot. Louis Gruel took over end of first round, mid first round, and beginning of second round as well. Ode Osbourne was kind of hitting him on the outside, but Louis Gruel was eating some shots and coming in and hitting with bigger shots. Some good leg kicks, some good low kicks from Louis Gruel. He's takedowns. He was grappling with Ode Osbourne, and he did have only says 1 takedown, but for some reason I remember more. But he did well in the grappling against Ode Osbourne. Ode Osbourne's pretty well rounded. So is Louis Gruel. Louis Gruel's just a little bit shorter. But coming into third round, first round I had for Louis Gruel, it was kind of back and forth, but for the most part, Louis Gruel did more damage, landed the better strikes, and got the takedowns as well. And he looked like he was building into this fight. He looked like he was kind of starting to take over, especially coming into that second round, the beginning of the second round. First 2 minutes of the second round, 3 minutes of the second round. He was kind of just like walking Ode Osbourne down, landing the better shots, blocking what Ode Osbourne was throwing back at him, and shooting takedowns and attempts and stuff like that. So Louis Gruel looked really good. I do think he's going to be really good at flyweight. I think somebody like Ode Osbourne is somebody that he typically, that level of fighter, Louis Gruel I think typically beats. But he got caught with a clean shot. He threw a kick. I don't want to say he threw a wild kick because, you do what you typically do where you throw your kick and you lower your hand like that as you're trying to put some power in. But right when he dropped his hand to throw that kick, he was just in too close to throw a kick like that. Like when I practice MMA and stuff like that, a lot of times, like one of our coaches, when we're in close throwing kicks like that, it's more hands up. Like if you're not going to get the same steam on it, it's okay. But like you can't throw a kick like arm all the way down when you're like from me to the camera away, like within like solid punching range. And I guess maybe it's just kind of in the moment, coming forward, walking forward. He threw a big kick to the body, and Ode Osbourne just clipped him as he went to throw that kick. To be fair to Louis Gruel, in fast motion, like that knockout or whatever knockdown looked like way more vicious than it did when it was in slow-mo. He was kind of on one foot, and he kind of was like off balance, and he got hit with a really, really good shot from Ode Osbourne that definitely rocked him, and put him down. But he wasn't out of it at all, like maybe a little bit, but not a whole lot. When you look at like the slow-mo, he's like, okay, wow, he's off balance. He got hit hard. He fell down. He started making his way back up. Definitely a little like dazed, but not like rocked. And then Ode Osbourne just jumped on him and landed a couple more really good follow-up shots. And he was covering up from the follow shots, but it was on the borderline of like, if you want to be a hardcore judge, let it keep going. If you want to be a safe judge, end it. And it was a good call. It was a good win from Ode Osbourne. And Louis Gruel didn't take any necessary extra damage. He definitely took some extra shots, but I think it was fair because he was still definitely in it. I thought he was going to win the fight. I really did until Ode Osbourne landed that big shot. And that's good for Ode Osbourne because he was on a 2-fight losing streak, I believe, so he needed to win that one. Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert. Honestly, again, wasn't the best fight. Gerald Meerschaert was trying to get takedowns. Brad Tavares has good takedown defense, and he couldn't get them. And then Brad Tavares was just kind of beating him up on the feet. Gerald Meerschaert isn't necessarily known for his striking. It's pretty much just his grappling. So when it's a purely striking battle, like he's probably gonna lose. He did okay. Gerald Meerschaert, honestly though, it was really good to see. Like he's a guy that's gonna go like to win the fight from start to finish, and coming into that like last 30 seconds of the third round, he was still going for it. So good on him. Wasn't necessarily an exciting fight. It was just Brad Tavares beating up a dude just throwing body kicks at him the whole time. Bartavius Romius versus Chang Ho Lee. Dude, this fight was... Oh, I clicked on Chang Ho Lee. Dude, Chang Ho Lee is a marauder, dude. He's the next Marab. He wants to be called the Korean Marab. People are calling him the Korean Khabib. He wants to be known as the Korean Marab. When you look at this fight, I looked at this fight. First of all, I didn't think Chang Ho Lee looked this jacked in this picture. But I was like, Bartavius Romius is the fitter guy. He's in more shape. He's definitely a little bit stronger. And I think he's probably going to be a little bit more durable than Chang Ho Lee. I was wrong. Chang Ho Lee is a strong guy for this weight division, and he is a durable dude. And I thought like he probably wasn't going to want to, maybe just because he's Korean, but I thought he wasn't going to want to stand in the pocket and just go to war with somebody as much as Bartavius Romius would. But he absolutely did, dude. This guy wanted all the smoke. This for me was probably one of the more entertaining fights of the night. He basically, well, both of them, because Bartavius Romius doesn't care about anybody. It's like he's coming there and he's throwing down and he's trying to get a finish ASAP. And Chang Ho Lee did the exact same thing. Chang Ho Lee fully met fire with fire that first round in the striking. Like Bartavius Romius came forward throwing everything at him, and Chang Ho Lee just came forward as well, threw everything at him, dude. It was really, really fun to watch. And Chang Ho Lee pretty much basically when they're in the stand-up, they're both just throwing bombs. Chang Ho Lee's striking looked good in the stand-up against Bartavius Romius. But it was just all grappling, all takedowns, and just control from Chang Ho Lee. And he got the job done, dude. He literally just mauled Cortavius Romeus pretty much when he got Cortavius Romeus down. Cortavius Romeus was having a really hard time getting back up to his feet, getting out of these positions. He was trying for some submissions that were never really going to work, and he was kind of ending up staying stuck on the ground. I believe he was going for guillotines a lot of the time when Chang Li was in a position to take him down, and he just got taken down partially because of that. But Chang Li was somebody who, in the grappling, was looking for submissions, but he was landing big shots, and he cut Cortavius Romeus open. And once he had Cortavius Romeus rocked in the second round, he literally just, he's not one of these guys who's like, okay, he's hurt, now I'm going to try to go for a submission. He's like, okay, he's hurt, now I'm going to literally just throw everything at him. Just elbows, hammer fists, literally just going ape mode on Cortavius Romeus. And dude, I watched Road to the UFC. I don't know why I don't remember watching Chang Li, but maybe because it was a previous year of Road to the UFC. But dude, he's a really exciting fighter, and he's someone I can't wait to see like in the future in this weight class. He's really good. He's really talented. I think he's gonna give a lot of people a hard time, and I think he's one of those guys that just like, I mean, Koreans like, especially in kickboxing stuff like that, are known for like sparring super hard and everything. You can tell this guy is not afraid to throw down with literally anybody. He'll match power for power, and then he'll just dominate in the grappling. And I think that's a really good combination. Like, he's kind of got like this Diego Lopez-esque vibe, this Merab-esque vibe. Merab's less willing to just take shots and throw. Merab's a little bit more like polished on the striking, whereas Chang Li's like, well, even in this fight against Cortavius, he was just like, I'm just whatever. Like, you want to try to bully me, it's not going to happen. And Cortavius Romeus also came in like 4 pounds overweight too. So great win from Chang Li. It was really good representation, really good fight. This one was also kind of a stinker as well. Another one of the fights that kind of killed momentum on the card, but a good performance nonetheless from Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini looked amazing in this fight. He pretty much just dominated Joe Anderson Brito the entire fight. Like, not even pretty much. He literally dominated him the entire fight. I want to see if we can see control time in here. No, he can't. And he wasn't the favorite. He's the underdog here. Pat Sabatini's grappling is really, really good. He trains with Sean Brady, and he kind of has a Sean Brady-esque grappling at this weight class. Like, he literally, first of all, he had good takedowns and entries, but Joe Anderson Brito was doing things that gave him opportunities to get takedowns a little bit easier than he probably should have. But, dude, once he had Joe Anderson Brito down, there was literally nothing Joe Anderson Brito could do. This kind of fight makes more sense for a W for Pat Sabatini. Obviously, he definitely won the fight, but like compared to like Torrez Finney, Pat Sabatini held Joe Anderson Brito pretty much on the ground the entire fight and controlled him and was looking for submissions and was still hitting with shots. Whereas Torrez Finney literally just held him up against the cage with his head in his crotch, like literally eating elbows. Like, he wasn't doing anything. Whereas Pat Sabatini was doing stuff. He was imposing his will, and he was putting off offensive grappling and ground and pound. Like, not all the time, and it wasn't like super entertaining, but it was a very dominant win. And Joe Anderson Brito is a really good fighter. So for Pat Sabatini to do something like that to Joe Anderson Brito, like, very, very impressive. Joe Anderson Brito is no joke, dude. He's like, literally says he wants to be the most aggressive fighter in the UFC. And in all his previous fights, he literally looks like that. He came out like in the striking exchanges and he was throwing as hard as he could. He just couldn't quite stop the takedowns. And once it got to the ground, it was pretty much all Pat Sabatini, man. Like, Joe Anderson Brito is going for these guillotines that are kind of letting him like kind of letting Pat Sabatini keep him on the ground. And Joe Anderson Brito's grappling is really good, so I don't know what to say about it. Pat Sabatini looked really, really good in this fight. He looked super calm, super collected. Like, look, he was just chilling. He was just chilling. Last fight of the night, we're gonna wrap this up quick. Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. Dude, Josh Emmett, man, he looked really good in this fight. I thought he looked better than he did in a lot of previous fights against Lerone Murphy. He was mixing it in better. He was using a lot more, I want to say a lot more diverse striking, but it's pretty much still literally just boxing and like 2 low kicks around. But he looked like he was mixing it up more than he normally does, which is a lot to say for Josh Emmett. He was adding in a lot of grappling, which I personally have never seen Josh Emmett do, and that was a good mix-up for him. I think it definitely helps him. I think the more he can throw more kicks, the more he can throw a little bit more wrestling, grappling into the mix, and just a little bit more. He threw a flying knee. I was like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that, bro. But the more he throws just a little bit more variety into the fight, the better he's going to do. And I think he's just too one-dimensional for a lot of people at the top level. I do think this was a pretty close fight. Josh Emmett thought he might have won at the end. I kind of had it scored for Lerone Murphy, but honestly, I wouldn't have been bummed, dude, if they scored it for Josh Emmett. You go up based off... I had it 2-2 going into the 5th round, to be honest. I was like, could be 2-2. Might not be, but could be 2-2. I think Lerone Murphy is not as good as people are hyping him up to be. I don't think, he looked great by any means in this fight. I think he looked pretty mid in this fight. I think Josh Emmett looked like he was not winning the fight, but Lerone Murphy did not look like he was levels above Josh Emmett by any means. It was pretty much just there was a clash of heads that cut Josh Emmett open, and one elbow to the back that cut Josh Emmett open, and it looked like there was damage being done by Lerone Murphy. But outside of those two kind of one illegal shot and one headbutt, there was very little damage being done to Josh Emmett. Lerone Murphy was just literally, you could see 117 strikes to 44 strikes. He was just tapping him at range from the outside, throwing a couple of big body kicks here and there, and a couple of lead leg stop kicks, but oblique kicks. And every time Josh Emmett would come and try to close the distance with big bombs, he would throw elbows in tight, which I did think was smart, but it wasn't a wow performance from Lerone Murphy or anything like that. It was pretty much just a dud. He was on his bike the whole time, just trying to outpoint Josh Emmett, and he did outpoint Josh Emmett, but did eat some pretty big shots whenever Josh Emmett closed the distance. Josh Emmett at some points closed the distance, landed some big shots where he should have stayed and kept throwing, and he just shot a takedown. The takedowns were good, but some of the decision making for when he should shoot those takedowns, not ideal. One thing about Josh Emmett too is I know these guys are good and they have good footwork like Lerone Murphy, but he doesn't do a great job of cutting people off in the cage. He really doesn't. If he wants to be this guy that just straight up boxer, I'm gonna just come in range and we're gonna throw bombs, dude, you cannot be Lerone Murphy's in southpaw and Josh Emmett's in orthodox, and they're on the cage, and Lerone Murphy's literally just circling out, and Josh Emmett's trying to win the outside foot battle, which is, what you want to do, right? But not when you're letting the guys circle off the cage and literally just escape into the middle after you tried to spend the last 2 minutes corralling them into the corner. He just needs to get better at cage control and shutting down these guys' options, because he's not very good at it, to be honest. And then adding a little bit more variety, but I don't know. I really wanted Josh Emmett to do well in this fight. He did pretty well in this fight, but he lost, and I think it's a fair loss. Was it an entertaining loss? Was it a good win by Lerone Murphy? No. Did it kind of not put a great ending to the card? Yes, but it is what it is. All right, guys, that's Fight Card. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was a pretty long breakdown, but I did my best. So, see you guys next one. Deuces.